Welcome to our channel. Today, we are going to learn how to ask about moving in or out of a new place.
I am so excited for this one, Emma. Moving is always such a massive headache, isn't it? I always feel like I am forgetting to ask something important.
It really is, Mark. It is one of the most stressful life events, but having the right vocabulary makes the process much smoother and less intimidating.
Exactly. I remember my last move. I was so overwhelmed that I did not even know what to call half the documents I was signing.
Well, today we are going to fix that. We'll cover everything from the very first logistics questions to the final key exchange.
Let's get started then. I have my notebook ready and I am eager to take some notes on these phrases.
That is the spirit. Let's dive into our first section on essential terminology. Before we dive into the specific questions, let's look at three big terms you will encounter. First, the security deposit.
That is the money you pay up front in case of damages to the property, right? It is usually a full month's rent.
Exactly. It acts as a safety net for the landlord. Then there's the lease agreement, which is your formal legal contract.
And don't forget the move-in inspection. That one saved me a lot of money last time.
Right. The move-in inspection is when you check the condition of the place before you officially take over the keys.
It is so important to document every little scratch during that move-in inspection so you get your full security deposit back later.
Very true. You should always read every single page of the lease agreement before you sign your name.
It is a lot of legal jargon, but knowing these terms makes you much more confident as a renter.
The most basic and essential question you will need to ask is simply, when can I move in?
It sounds simple, but the timing is everything when you are coordinating trucks and help. Or if you want to be more formal, you could ask, what is the earliest available move-in date?
Good one, Mark. That formal touch can really impress a property manager. You might also ask, is the unit ready for occupancy right now?
What if I need to move in a few days early? My old lease ends on the 28th, and I don't want to store my stuff.
In that case, you could say, is there any flexibility with the move-in date to accommodate a weekend move?
I would like to move in on the 1st of the month at the latest. Is that possible?
Exactly. Most landlords prefer the 1st or the 15th for their administrative bookkeeping, but it never hurts to ask for a specific day.
That makes sense, but it sure makes moving companies busy on those specific days.
If you are moving into a large apartment building, you absolutely must ask about the loading dock.
How do I reserve the loading dock for my moving day? I've seen people get fined for parking their trucks in the wrong spot.
And don't forget the elevator. You should ask, is there a freight elevator I should use for heavy furniture?
Do I need to put down a separate deposit for the freight elevator key or the padding?
Sometimes you do. You might also ask, are there specific hours when I am permitted to use the loading dock?
Some buildings are incredibly strict about those times, usually between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. on weekdays only.
Definitely. You don't want to show up with a giant truck and find the loading dock locked and the manager gone for the day.
That would be a total nightmare. Always book those spots at least a week in advance.
Next on the list, you need to ask about the utility setup. This covers your power, water, and heating.
Which utilities are included in my monthly rent is the first thing I always ask.
Do I need to handle the utility setup for electricity and water myself, or is it managed by the building?
And for most of us these days, the most important question is, how soon can I get the internet installed?
Is there a preferred provider for the building that already has the wiring ready?
Will I need to be present at the apartment for the utility setup technician to enter?
Usually, yes. You should also ask, when exactly should I call the companies to transfer the accounts into my name?
I always forget that part until the day of the move and end up sitting in the dark.
During your walkthrough, you will need to be very detailed with your inventory list.
Can we go through the inventory list together so we are both seeing the same things?
That is a great approach. You should ask, how do I document any pre-existing damage during the walkthrough?
Should I take digital photos of everything on the inventory list and email them to you?
Always take photos. How long do I have to submit the completed walkthrough report to the office?
Usually the grace period is about 48 hours after you get the keys. Don't wait longer than that.
Does the inventory list include the current condition and age of the kitchen appliances?
It definitely should. If the fridge is already dented, you want that in writing immediately.
Let's practice a real conversation about the security deposit. Mark, you play the tenant and I will play the landlord.
I have a quick question about the security deposit return policy once my lease eventually ends.
Of course. The security deposit is usually returned within 30 days of your move-out date.
What kind of deductions are common from the security deposit here?
We mostly deduct for professional carpet cleaning or repairing any damage that goes beyond normal wear and tear.
Will I receive an itemized list of any deductions if they occur?
Yes, that is a standard legal requirement in our lease agreement.
Great. I just want to make sure I'm following the walkthrough procedures correctly to protect my funds.
We appreciate that. Taking care of the place makes it easier for everyone. Finding a legal spot for a giant moving truck in a busy city can be a huge challenge.
Where is the best place for me to park the moving truck during the unloading process?
Do I need to apply for a special temporary permit from the city for the moving truck?
Is there a height clearance or a weight limit I should be aware of for the moving truck to enter the alley?
Can the moving truck stay parked overnight in the designated area if I don't finish unloading?
Are there any specific neighbors I should notify before the moving truck arrives to block the driveway?
That is a very polite and thoughtful question to ask. It builds goodwill from the very first day.
It really does. It is much better to be the nice new neighbor than the one who blocked everyone's car.
Many landlords now require you to have renter's insurance before they will even give you the keys.
Is renter's insurance a mandatory requirement according to our lease agreement?
What is the minimum liability coverage required for my renter's insurance policy?
Does the renter's insurance cover my personal belongings while they are actually inside the moving truck?
That depends on the specific policy, so you must check. Do I need to provide a digital copy of my proof of renter's insurance today?
Can you recommend a local company that provides affordable renter's insurance for this neighborhood?
Landlords usually cannot recommend one specific company, but they can give you a list of common providers.
It is usually only a few dollars a month, but it can save you thousands in a disaster.
Every building has its own set of rules and culture that you need to learn quickly.
Are there specific quiet hours I should respect while I am moving boxes late at night?
Are there rules about where I can leave empty cardboard boxes for recycling?
Can I move large furniture through the main lobby, or must I use the service entrance at all times?
Is there a limit on how many friends or family members can help me move at once?
Where should I dispose of large packing materials like bubble wrap and styrofoam?
Is there a specific person I should contact if there is a problem during my move over the weekend?
It is much better to ask these things now than to get a grumpy phone call or a fine on your first night.
This is the big, exciting moment we all wait for, the formal key handover.
When and where exactly will the key handover take place on my moving day?
How many sets of physical keys are included in the key handover for my roommates?
Do I receive a separate mailbox key and an electronic fob during the key handover?
What is the protocol if I accidentally lose a key shortly after the key handover?
Is there a significant fee for replacing high-security keys post-key handover?
Can I make additional copies of the keys at a hardware store, or are they restricted?
You definitely want to know that before you head out to the locksmith. Some keys are protected.
Exactly. The key handover represents the official start of your new life in the new space. Now, let's switch gears and talk about leaving a place. You must understand your notice period.
How much notice period is required by law or contract before I am allowed to move out?
Does the notice period always start from the first day of the month, or any day?
Must the notice period be given as a formal written letter, or is a simple email sufficient?
What are the financial penalties if I need to shorten my notice period due to an emergency?
Is there a penalty if I stay 1 or 2 days past the end of my notice period?
Usually, you will lose a portion of your security deposit or be charged a daily rate.
It is absolutely vital to check the lease agreement for those specific timelines and penalties.
Sometimes life changes quickly and you need to leave before your lease is up. Mark, let's talk about subletting.
Hey Mark, I might need to relocate for a new job. What is the building's policy on subletting?
I am not entirely sure. Does our current lease agreement even allow for subletting?
I will double check the fine print, but would you personally be okay with me subletting my room?
As long as we find someone reliable and quiet, I am definitely open to the idea of subletting.
Great. I will reach out to the landlord today to ask about the formal application process for subletting.
Make sure they know that we will handle the initial screening for the subletting candidate ourselves.
That is a good plan. I want to make sure the transition is smooth for you too.
Don't forget one of the most tedious parts of moving, the change of address notifications.
When is the ideal time to file my official change of address with the post office?
Do I need to notify my bank and my employer of my change of address immediately?
Is there a comprehensive checklist for all the online accounts that need my change of address?
How do I handle the change of address for my driver's license and vehicle registration?
Should I set up temporary mail forwarding along with my formal change of address?
Yes, mail forwarding is a lifesaver for those first few weeks when you might miss a will.
It gives you a safety net while you work through the long list of people who need your new info.
Moving traditions and etiquette vary wildly around the world, which is so fascinating to see.
In some cultures, it is traditional to bring bread and salt to a new home to ensure you never go hungry.
In others, a housewarming party is considered essential once you have unpacked your final box.
Is it customary in this neighborhood to introduce myself to the next-door neighbors right away?
Should I bring a small gift, like flowers or a candle, when I first meet the neighbors?
What are the local expectations for how clean the apartment should be before I move out?
In some countries, it must be broom clean, while in others, it must be professionally scrubbed top to bottom.
Knowing these little nuances helps you fit into your new community much faster and avoids awkwardness.
Let's summarize our masterclass today. Phrase 1, when and where is the key handover?
Phrase 2, what is the exact notice period required for moving out of this unit?
Phrase 3, can we schedule the move-in inspection for tomorrow morning?
Phrase 4, is renter's insurance a mandatory part of this lease agreement?
And finally, phrase 5, how do I reserve the loading dock for my moving truck?
If you master these 5 phrases, your next move will be significantly less stressful than the last one.
You will sound like a seasoned pro and avoid the most common mistakes that new renters make.
I am feeling much more confident about my next big move already. Thanks for the tips, Emma.
Oh, man, Mark, I am absolutely exhausted. This moving day feels like it has been going on for years.
I know exactly what you mean, Emma. The moving truck was 2 hours late, and now the elevator is making that weird noise.
Did we actually remember to reserve the freight elevator, or are we just using the regular passenger one?
I definitely reserved the freight elevator for 3 hours, but the previous tenant is still unloading their stuff.
That is so frustrating. We have at least 20 more boxes left sitting down in the loading dock.
Don't worry, we will get it all done eventually. Have you seen where I put the inventory list?
I think I saw it on the kitchen counter under the pile of bubble wrap. Let's just focus on the heavy stuff first.
Good idea. 1 box at a time, Emma. We will be eating pizza on the floor in no time.
Hi, Emma. Thanks so much for meeting me here today for the final walkthrough of the apartment.
No problem at all, Mark. As your property manager, I want to make sure everything is in order before you leave.
I have spent all weekend cleaning everything that was listed on the original inventory list.
Great, I appreciate the effort. Let's take a look at the walls in the bedroom. It looks like you patched the small holes.
Yes, I used some spackle. I really wanted to make sure I get my full security deposit back this time.
Everything looks fantastic. I will just need you to sign this lease agreement termination form right here.
Of course, and here are all the sets of keys for the official key handover. There are 3 in total.
Perfect. I will process your security deposit return and mail it to your new address within the week. We are finally in, Mark. Look at this incredible view from our new living room window.
It is absolutely amazing, Emma. I can't believe the utility setup went so smoothly after all our worrying.
I am so incredibly glad we double-checked the lease agreement regarding the internet installation window.
Me too. Having high-speed Wi-Fi on day 1 is a total game changer for my work-from-home setup.
Now we just need to tackle this literal mountain of boxes. It looks like a cardboard fort in here.
Let's take it slow, Emma. Today we will just unpack the kitchen essentials and set up the beds.
Agreed. I have already finished my change of address forms online, so that is one big task checked off.
You are always so organized. Let's celebrate our new home with some takeout pizza right here on the floor.
Best idea you have had all day, Mark. Welcome home to us. We finally made it.